Greetings, opera lovers. It's Rona, live from Pittsburgh. I don't have an opera to review for you today, but I do have my own personal season to go over with you as to what were the highs and the lows, the advantages of having a personal blog on YouTube, and just some thoughts in general. Since I knew I wouldn't be able to organize my thoughts well enough without writing them down, you'll have to forgive me that I can't look into the monitor and have to read what I'd like to tell you. So first of all, in general, I'd like to say that it's an amazing thing that through YouTube, so many people can watch and listen to what I have to say. Who am I? I'm absolutely a nobody. All I am is a person who at one time studied opera, had a few chances to be in some not very lauded productions of operas, but I do love it and I support it. And I also try to spread the word and have my own friends go and watch it and encourage people to support opera. So this past year, which I include the opening of the Met as the beginning of the season and the last performance of the Met as the end of the season, I'd like to just go over my top 10 moments of opera this year. So it started out this way. Planning has nothing to do with anything. By happenstance, I was in New York in January for the birth of my first grandchild, with whom I spent a lot of time, but not in the evenings. So in January, I was able to get to see 4 productions at the Met, 4 very different ones. Butterfly, Rusalka, Les Lysiers, and Bohème. I got to hear some of the world's greatest singers and see 4 amazing productions. The one that I liked the least was Les Lysiers because I just didn't like it, but it was my first time hearing Anna Netrebko live. I got to see live the beautiful production of Madama Butterfly, and I got to hear Brian Eno in the big house, and he was great. In Rusalka, I got to hear some of my favorite singers, Piotr Beczała, Renee Fleming, who at the end of her career is doing a beautiful job keeping her voice in excellent condition, and Delora Zajic, just an all-around great opera singer. Just speaking about so many of these tenors, isn't it amazing? We are living in the golden age of tenors. I don't want to mention any names because I know I'll leave out some that I want to include, and that wouldn't be a good thing. So that was my reason number 10. Reason number 9 that it was such a great year was that on Facebook, I have a lot of opera friends, people I don't really know. And because the Pittsburgh Opera put on Aida with Latonio Moore, one of my Facebook friends came and visited us, and it was a highlight of the year. He was a great guy. We had a wonderful time. A friend of mine made his Met debut in an opera in New York, and Stu and I went to see him. Andre Nemser had a very small role in Die Frau ohne Schatten, but he was terrific in it. And if you have a friend who's making a debut or sings at the Met, it's a thrill to be able to go. At number 7, the same night, I also got to hear live Christine Goerke's breakout performance as Die Frau in Die Frau ohne Schatten. I had heard her first night through the webcast, and it was just, you knew. This was the start of a new era in her career. I also found out about Met webcasts. Another great highlight of the year was that it started off with Eugene Onegin, one of my favorite operas, which I can say I don't think people like the reviewers from the New York Times or other publications can say this is my favorite piece, my favorite opera. They might say it's so-and-so's masterpiece or it's one of his lesser-known works, but I don't think they get to say this is my favorite or he's my favorite singer or she is. So yes, Eugene Onegin, one of my favorites. And Anna Netrebko was so fantastic as Tatiana. And I love that in this age, she is starting to portray the roles that I think are much better suited for her. Also, this year, I was able to watch La Forza del Destino live on the internet. From Vienna, I was able to watch Fanciulla del West with Kaufmann, Stemmer, and Tézier. Ludwig Tézier is a new name to me, and I just think he's a terrific singer. And during last summer, which is sort of part of the season, from Salzburg, I was able to see Don Carlo, and from Vienna, Trovatore, one of the worst productions I have ever seen. My second top joy of the year was when there is a replacement, either at the last minute or known before, and they come out and they do such a great job. The first one who did this was Adriana Chutchman in L'Elysée. Then later, I didn't hear him, but I heard he was terrific, was Jean-Francois Boras replacing Jonas Kaufmann, imagining that on your shoulders. And then hearing first in a scheduled performance Javier Camarena in La Sonnambula, and then he has to replace Juan Diego Flores in Cenerentola, and in my opinion, steals the show. But my number one joy of the year was rediscovering an opera that I used to dismiss, and that is I Puritani. In general, I'm not a fan of bel canto operas, and this year I kind of changed my mind a little, and it was through this opera. First of all, the Met put out some wonderful singers, starting with Mr. Lawrence Brownlee, one of the premier singers of this kind of bel canto tenor that we need. The other cast members were also very good. I enjoyed Olga Peretyatko. She's very young. And Michela Pertusi, the conductor, who some people know is married to Olga Peretyatko. All of a sudden, his name disappeared from my head, Mariatti or something like that. He was a terrific conductor. And Marius Kvitchen, who was absent in the opening night, did come back to sing the second webcast, and he was still ill, but he was. It was nice to hear him back. My continued joys of opera is that there are still the Saturday matinees at the Met every single Saturday. You can listen to them on your radio. I discovered that on YouTube there are entire operas with English translations. Isn't that great? And then there's the continued joy of the HD productions from the Met and from other companies around the world who are imitating this. I don't really have 10 big disappointments, but I just would like to mention a few little things. It's a pretty sad state of opera right now in the United States. It's becoming less and less popular. There was a lot of news about the San Diego Opera folding and now trying to reopen. New York City Opera closed. This is not a good thing for opera. Then there's this topic. Why aren't my favorite up-and-coming singers singing more in the top houses? And these would include Missing in Action this year or next year, Jamie Barton, Michael Fabiano, Karen Cargill, Tamara Mumford. There are many others. I love Anna Maria Martinez. She sings a lot in Chicago, but not at the Met. Why do I disagree so much with so many reviewers? They all seem to love the production of Prince Igor. Not me. I don't want to go over that anymore. Also, the production of Werther. A lot of reviewers really picked it apart. I thought it was lovely. I mean, just because you're paid to give your opinion doesn't mean that you have to come up with ridiculous things why you don't like things. It's just my opinion. Okay, some more disappointments. I really wanted to love Falstaff, and I just didn't. I also really wanted to love Peleas and Melisande, but I didn't try listening to it again this year again. But my biggest disappointment of the year was that this season, 2013-2014, was the centenary of Wagner's birth and no Wagner at the Met. What is that all about? Who planned this? Okay, that's the end of the year. I hope I'll catch some performances on the web from some of the festivals in Europe. And next year, if there's a season at the Met, hopefully I'll be able to catch some of them on the web, live, or in HD. We're going to have a fabulous season in Pittsburgh, and everybody remember to support your local opera company. Have a great day.